God forbid another small tugboat or overweighted raft or something tips over in the English Channel. People are trying to get to France or the shores of European countries by these boats, right? Africans do not like their nation's condition and they want out of there, right? They want out of there. So, yes, absolutely. There are Black Scottish people, and I think for the most part, most ethnically Black Americans know that there are racially Black people across the globe, right? But Africans do anything. Maybe they can afford a plane, right? Maybe their parents made their way to the United Kingdom via being a colonized nation like Jamaica or something. And they have children in these nations, and those children are nationals of those nations, and they pick up the accents, right? Because they're born there. And I think, ethically Black Americans, we are just having fun and haven't heard the thick Scottish accent out of the mouth of a Black person, right? Because racially Black people are not the face of Scotland. Let's get into it. What's up, ladies and gents? Social Nurse here. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate your time. On the screen is a man that's over there on TikTok. He's a Black Scottish person, a Black Scottish national. Now, I believe that man's parents immigrated to Scotland. I don't think his family is generationally deep in Scotland. And right now, Black Americans, ethically Black Americans, right? We are just kind of having fun with the fact that Black people are presenting with a strong Scottish accent. That's it. That's it. I mean, listen, there are Africans on the continent that thought Jamaica was in Africa, right? So this tells you kind of associate people with specific regions that they thought that. Racially Black people are not associated with Ireland. And now that they are presenting on TikTok, and it's been discovered by ethically Black Americans that they're doing that, racially Black Scots are doing videos, we're getting a kick out of it. We're getting a kick out of it. Now, this man on the screen was kind of like annoyed with the fact that someone's commenting that they didn't know there were Black Scottish nationals, right? Well, for the most part, I believe that most ethically Black Americans know that there are people across the globe at this point that are racially Black, right? But I do think that it's just not being familiar with it or have seen a racially Black person with a thick Scottish accent. You don't see it often, right? But I don't think it's literal when people from my group say they did not know, because a lot of times we speak in a way that's not literal. And for some people, it does need context and explaining. Basically, I did not know in this case is more than likely I've never seen this before, or I'm not familiar with this. Now, could there be some ethically Black Americans that, really didn't know? Yes, but I think that's a small group. If you're seeing Black people say they didn't know, it's not literal. It's not literal. Now, listen, again, the UK, one of the biggest colonizers, of course, people from nations that they colonize flock to the mother parent, which would be the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom colonized a lot of areas, including America. At one point, there, the British were coming. The British were coming, huh? People came from the UK and settled here in America. So it's not hard to believe that Africans from the different African nations have fled over into Scotland. They fled over into Ireland. They fled over into the UK. They fled over into Wales, right? We know that the UK is Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England, right? So of course these Africans, if they get across the English Channel and survive those awful tugboats and little yachts, of course, if they can make it into the United Kingdom, they'll get there and they'll start populating, right? So these Scottish people, it's not like they are generationally deep in Scotland, right? In masses. Most of them are probably one or two generations of being Scottish nationals, huh? Right? So for them to try to act like racially black people are associated with Scotland, it's just a bit ridiculous, right? But I just think, we're getting a kick out of it. It's fun. It's conversation. It started off as fun, but now I don't know. If these people are offended, it might end up like those black immigrants and first generational Brits. And some Jamaicans are probably there more than one or two generations, right? But these racially black Scots might get ticked off now, right? So, I see some Nigerian man with an Irish accent over there in Ireland, right? Doing videos on things he's discovering about my group, ethically Black Americans. Things like HBCUs, colleges, and inventions, right? But our group, ethically Black Americans, have had a lens on us for years, right? Racially black people across the globe and non-racially black people across the globe have seen our group, be it you like what you see or not, whatever the government or whatever media from the United States put out, right? And even though we have a lengthy time period of being here in America, there are people, racially black people, that still do not associate Black Americans as Americans. They don't want us to get rid of African American as a title, right? It is what it is, right? If a Black American just says, I'm an American, they'll say, but where are you really from? And all of this stuff, right? So it's an interesting thing that's going on with racially black people. And the Scottish accent is cute. I like it. I hope these people don't get overly offended if someone says they did not know there were racially black Scottish people, because I really don't think, for the most part, it's literal, right? Of course, Africans have fled everywhere, right? Social nurse.